Would these generally be guys in Premier League clubs?
Yeah, mostly lads who were involved in the Premier League and Championship, and because we started it 10 years ago, some of those coaches who actually completed their A licence then have since retired.
Okay. And in regards to actual coaching itself, I suppose it's quite a broad subject to say big advice, main advice, but in terms of coach presentation, when you're coaching, obviously you must have worked with some of the nation's best over the last few years, I'm sure. Is there any sort of rules that you stick by in terms of your presentation, your demeanour, the way that you present?
I think it all depends who you're working with, you know, what level they're at. You know, I've been fortunate enough to work with the seniors for when Ray was off. He was off for 6 months back in 2005, so I moved up to the seniors. Prior to that, in 2000, I just did one senior game, which was Brazil at Wembley, which was absolutely if you're going to do it, Brazil at Wembley. And that was terrific for me because as a relatively young coach, you know, having Dave Seaman, Nigel Martin and David James as the 3 goalkeepers. So it depends, you know, who you're working with and at what level. You know, because I also work with the under-16s who come in, you know, sort of fresh-faced and is new to it. You know, and then you're into the seniors. So in terms of man management, for me, it's the crucial thing is to set the right environment. You know, whereas with the young goalkeepers, you're actually preparing them for international football. Whereas with the senior goalkeepers, you're maintaining them for international football. You know, so it's a different hat as such, but it's a challenge. You know, to work with the seniors, but it's a challenge also to work with the 16-year-olds, you know. Yeah,
I bet. I mean, is enjoyment a factor that it has to be?
A massive part of it, and when I say setting the right environment, for me, especially with the younger goalkeepers, they're coming away with England, a lot of them for the first time, and you've been there yourself. You know when you turn up.
I was going to say, you know, just edge on that. When was it? Was it 10? It must have been 10 years ago now.
It would be 10 years.
10 years we went. In fact, I remember there was a game at Bradford. I sat on the bench for. Who was it now? Was it? Oh, Andy Lonning. I can't think now, but it was a long time ago. Sorry, carry on.
You know, in international football, the pressure that comes with it, because people are saying, "Oh, international football must be great," but all of a sudden you come into an environment. People's perception of you is different because you're now classed as an international goalkeeper. There is a pressure on, you know, whether it's with our young under-16s, you know, they go from nothing to thrown into a tournament where all of a sudden they're playing in front of, you know, live on Sky, Victory Shield, and you know, and they've got to handle that. So for me, you've got to set the right environment for them and give them the best support that you can, both from a practical point of view, from a psychological point of view, and just prepare them for the event and try and help them, because that's what you're there for. You're to support.
I was going to say, on that note, obviously, you know, you'll be watching plenty of games and there'll be keepers making mistakes. How would you address something like that, bearing in mind what you just said regarding your role in that?
Well, from the goalkeeper side, the first thing, once he makes a mistake, or once she makes a mistake, it's initially their reaction. You know, for me, they can do 3 things. They can fold, whereby all of a sudden, you know, they've made a mistake, and the first thing they do is become reactive, and then all of a sudden just go and defend the goal and don't want to make decisions. You know, or you've got, you know, the other option of a goalkeeper making a mistake who then thinks, well, I'm going to deal with the next cross. You know, and start chasing the game. And what invariably happens is you get a mistake leading to a mistake, or you've got the goalkeeper who makes a mistake, throws it, you know, behind him and says, right, I'll deal with that later, let's get on with the game. And I try and be as simplistic as I can with them, because for every mistake they've made, I've also made it myself, and I know how they feel. So I think I've probably got some sympathy with them. And a realism that, okay, you've made a mistake, but let's just get on with the game and we'll talk about it later on, and learn from it, really.
Deal with it then. I mean, on that again, would, in terms of sort of a coach, having that kind of empathy with the keeper, the fact that you've been there, you've done it, how important is that for a coach to have played in goal?
I think it's very important from a psychological point of view. in that if you've actually been through that yourself, it has to be a benefit. But that's not to say that to be a good goalkeeping coach you have to have played at the highest level. I think if you're a good student and you take on board information and you're a good learner, then you can become a good goalkeeping coach. And just the same as with outfield coaches, you know, you've had the likes of obviously Mourinho and you know, Benitez, who haven't been Wenger, who haven't been top players, but have become good coaches, good managers. And likewise, you know, because you've played to a very good level, doesn't automatically mean that you're going to be a good coach. And coaching is teaching. You know, and it's an art.